from the belt to the plate. A swing and a miss, and that's the winner. That's the winner. A World Series winner for the Cardinals. Smith corks one into right down the line. It may go. Go crazy, folks. Go crazy. It's a home run, and the Cardinals have won the game by the score of 3-2 on a home run by the Wizard. Go crazy. Swinging a long one into left field. Adios, goodbye, and maybe that's the winner. A 3-run homer by Clark, and the Cardinals lead by the score of 7-5, and they may go to the World Series on that one, folks.
What a team. What a ride. The Cardinals are world champs in 2011.
Welcome to That's the Winner podcast. I am Ryan Jenkins, and with me as always is Josh Brown. And special guest tonight is Dan Dakich. You hear him on Outkick. You hear him on 107.5 The Fan in Indianapolis. Dan, thanks for joining us. We really appreciate it.
That's hard. You know, I'm a diehard my
Cubs
whole life
fan.
Cubs fan.
Yeah.
You probably hated every bit of that intro.
Well, I got to tell you, happiest days of my life as a Cub fan, other than 2016, was 84 when Ryan Sandberg was knocking balls out of the park. And we were actually at one of the games in that series, and this is a true story. Went there with some buddies of mine, and as I'm walking, we had standing room only. We were against a fence in right field, and a bunch of IU fans were there, and I was playing at the time, and they're like, Dakich, all that stuff. Great. Well, about the fifth inning, we ran out of beer. So my brother, who is an attorney, goes, hey, go down there and sell your shoes to those guys. See what kind of money they'll give us. We need money for beer. We ran out of money. I went down, sold my Adidas top 10s to two guys for $35 and walked around the rest of the game barefoot. But $35 bought you some beers in those days. So there you go, man. That was Cubs in 84 was our heyday until recently. So Cardinals have always been a nemesis.
That is fantastic.
Like, did you cannot wait for like Pujols and Yachty and Waino just to finally just retire and be gone?
Yeah, I got to tell you, I'm so tired of Yachty and Molina. You know, all that dude does, it seems like anyway, and I don't follow the Cardinals every day. Particularly, I would if it was the Cubs, you know, if the Cubs were interesting or they had something going. But it seems like he just wills things to happen, Molina. Like he wills pitchers to be better. He wills the team at different times, particularly this time of year. And it seems like Wainwright, whenever you need him, he comes up pretty big, and Pujols is out of his freaking mind. I'm not going to say anything about I'll have what he's having or anything like that, but that dude is nuts right now.
Well, yeah, let's talk about that a little bit. So, you know, our Twitter went kind of viral last week when Max Kellerman mentioned having what he's having and insinuated some use of something that gets Pujols going this year. You know, you guys are in the same type of business where you say things and you get people to get excited about it or get mad about it. You know, you give your real opinion. You know, how do you feel about that? Like the first part that he said without any actual data or factual evidence, because the data tells you otherwise. But then the other part of whenever he came back and he retracted it the next day when Pujols and the Cardinals said, whoa, whoa, whoa.
You know, here's the thing that's different about ESPN and, you know, CBS and all that. When you're at ESPN, man, everybody hears you. You know, like I didn't see what he did. I didn't see it in real time. And then, you know, Twitter's blowing up. And in the evening, as I was sitting there setting up my Outkick show, I saw it and I clicked on it. And fellas, I'm not going to lie. I said, that's it? I mean, this is where ESPN draws the line. I mean, I'll have what he's having. I mean, I expected him to talk a little more egregiously, I guess. I mean, I've seen ESPN put guys on the court, Jalen Rose on the court in that NBA Finals, and he's talking about guys that were killed, that weren't killed, or unarmed victims that weren't unarmed. I mean, I've seen ESPN, so they're drawing the line at that. Hey, I get it. If I'm Pujols or if I'm the Cardinals, I don't want anybody on national TV saying that. I understand that. Pujols doesn't deserve that. But I'll go the other way with you guys. Let's not be stupid here. I mean, it's not like all of a sudden, steroids are completely out of baseball. We just saw the number one guy, right? When you look at commercials, Fernando Tatis is all over these commercials, and he just got 80 games. And we saw minor leaguers, and there's a couple other major leaguers. Pujols didn't deserve it. I didn't think it was that big a deal. I understand why the Cardinals and Pujols saying, "Oh, whoa, 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 whoa." But man, for ESPN to draw the line at that, good for them, I guess, or bad for them. It seemed ridiculous to me.
Yeah, I think, and Ryan and I were talking about this. Obviously, we've got a pulse on Cardinals Nation. We know why the Cardinals fans flipped out about this,
Sure.
because the sarcasm is very much insinuating that maybe he's juicing or something like that. But I can tell you, I mean, I agree with you, Dan. I don't think it was so egregious that he should be fired or something crazy like this. I don't think this was ESPN making him apologize. I very much think this was Albert in his representation, seeing it, reaching out and saying, "Hey, you better get him to issue an apology or a lawsuit's coming," because we've seen that. In 2013, Jack Clark went on the radio waves and said he knew Albert Pujols was juicing. And Albert did the same thing. He said, a lawsuit's coming if apology's not there. And it was like the next day. And so Albert just doesn't put up with this, man. And to your point, steroids are very much still a part of baseball. And I think that honestly, what you just said with Tatis getting popped with the suspension he's got is almost makes this take even worse. I mean, how far are we going to take a conspiracy theory here? Like Major League Baseball is going to turn an eye if Albert turns up a positive test juicing, but they didn't turn an eye with their superstar who they've been putting on every Gatorade commercial and everything else when he hits with steroids. Just the whole take. I don't think all three of us, I think, can get on the same page. It's just a bad take.
My thing when you look at, again, I go back to what ESPN is. When you make a throw, I guarantee you this, to Max Kellerman, it was kind of a throwaway line. He thought he was being cute. He thought he was being clever. And I agree with what you just said. I guarantee you that here's what happened. Pujols got a hold of his agent and all that. They know how to get a hold of the right people at ESPN. They said, "Look, we don't appreciate this. We think this is crap. And we're willing to go as far as we can." And I'll be honest with you. If I were, let's take a guy like Pujols, who's never been implicated in this, or Frank Thomas, who's never been, big guys, right? I mean, never been implicated in any of this. And the last thing in the world they want to be for their legacy, right, to get into the Hall of Fame, is be implicated in any of this. So I wouldn't blame Pujols, I don't blame Pujols, nor do I blame his people for taking this very, very, very seriously. I think your point is very good. There's no way that if, let's say I'm, I don't know, name a guy, some guy, just a normal guy, and you say that, okay, maybe you make fun of it, whatever. But in Pujols' case, where legacy is involved, he cannot have himself in any way, shape, or form tied to that. So I don't blame his people for getting mad. I'm just shocked at ESPN. Like, this is the line, really? For you guys, the crap you've been saying for the last 2 years? Come on.
Would Dan Dakich have apologized?
The money they were paying me at ESPN at that time, let me tell you, I'd apologize today, tomorrow, the next time. One thing, here's the thing that you do. Like, I got in a deal where Izzo got really mad at me, and the crowd was yelling, "We hate Dakich," and they're like, "Well, you think we should apologize?" And I said, "F no, I apologize. I didn't do anything wrong." And then later in my thing, some lady got mad at me on social media because I told her, I'm a married man. I won't go swimming in a pool with your crazy ass. ESPN got all upset about that too. They made me sound misogynist. They said, "You need to apologize. It's not a chance in hell." Because I didn't do anything wrong. If I thought I did something wrong, I absolutely, and I've apologized numerous times. And I'll be honest with you, if I was Kellerman, I probably would have. I probably would have said, "Look, yeah, I probably would have." I'd have been shocked. I'll tell you this, in the position that I'm in, you get surprised at what isn't a big deal, and you get surprised at what is a big deal. Like, it made national news. Dan Wolken at USA Today killed me. This woman said that I assaulted her by saying I would not go in a pool, and it made national news. And I'm like, I didn't even mention a woman's name. Like, how does this become, and I've said other things where I'm like, crap, this is going to be bad, right? Nothing. So it surprises you a little bit when certain things get blown up and certain things don't.
Well, that's sad. That's the world we live in. The whole cancel cultural thing. It's awful. It's toxic. That's just the world we're in right now. But I think too, even when I heard the Kellerman thing, really what got me fired up, and honestly, one of the first things I thought of is why is Albert Pujols not getting a benefit of a doubt? He's never been connected to steroids in any shape or form at all. And then I
Right.
think back, I actually immediately, I was telling Ryan, I thought back to 2016. I don't know if you remember, Dan, David Ortiz, final season, 40 years old. He's out there hitting 315, slugging over 620. He hit 38 bombs and 127 RBIs, and nobody said anything at 40 years old. And he had been tied into the whole biolab. His name was on the list. He's been tied to steroids before. Now, David Ortiz is awesome. I love David Ortiz. Most people do. He's a great ambassador for Major League Baseball. But nobody said a word. I don't remember anyone saying a word or criticizing David Ortiz or thinking, oh, I wonder how is he doing this at 40 years old? I don't remember that happening at all in 2016.
Well,
We're not too far removed from that.
you guys, 2016 to right now is a hell of a lot different. I mean, in terms of what you just talked about, a cancel culture or anything like that, it's a hell of a lot different, man. I mean, I think it's different from 3 years ago. I go back to just on a radio show saying, "Hey, look, I will not. I'm not going in the pool." And next thing you know, boom, boom, violence. I'm like, "What? Huh?" So it's a lot different. Maybe in 16 people inferred it. But in this day and age, again, I go back to very simple, very simple. I guarantee you, Kellerman thought it was a funny, quip, and Pulos's people said we cannot even have people thinking this because we've seen. Look, let's be honest. We've seen what's happened with Hall of Fame votes,
Right.
and I don't care what anybody said. I don't care what Albert Pujols says, A-Rod, whoever else. I don't care. Everybody wants to be in the daggone Hall of Fame. And I mean, you can say, oh, it doesn't matter to me, or I proved myself on garbage, absolute garbage. And for Pujols, the only possible way he's not a first ballot Hall of Famer is if somehow, some way, a ridiculous allegation sticks. And like I said, I don't blame his people for getting up and getting after it. And to your point, I think they absolutely forced ESPN to make Kellerman say something.
Well, I'll take full responsibility for all of it. I think my tweet is what made everyone see it.
Yeah.
So I will take full. That's why we're
It's
here.
been embedded in just about every article.
Yes, New York Post, Sporting News, Outkick picked it up. That's why we're here now, is because you retweeted about it as well. But let's move on to a little happier part of it for Cardinals fans more than, I guess, Cubs fans. Cubs were eliminated officially today, but also the Contreras has been tied to possibly the Cardinals free agency next year because he's a free agent. Yadier Molina will no longer be on the Cardinals, and
they're good friends.
And they're good friends, but the Cardinals need a catcher next year because Andrew Kisner and Ivan Herrera doesn't look like they're going to be ready next year. What do you think about that? Do you think that, knowing, how much Contreras does like Chicago and the Cubs, does that make sense, or is that something that would just really piss you off, or as Cubs fans and Cubs fans in general?
And were you surprised, Dan, to not see him traded at the trade deadline?
I thought he would be. I just figured, you know what? They're doing their thing, right? They're doing their thing. They're rebuilding it. And you got one. I mean, let's be honest. If you look at the Cubs, you don't have two pieces that are going to get you anything. You got one. It would be to me like here in Indy, we go from Manning to Andrew Luck. If the St. Louis Cardinals went from Yadier Molina to Contreras. I think Contreras is terrific by all accounts. He does love Chicago, but let's be honest. If you're the catcher in particular, and you're out there every night, you're grinding in gear, and because players know, your team is not going to win anything. Your team is a couple years away at best, really. If I'm Contreras, and I think he does by all accounts, he's a studious baseball guy. You got to go, and you got to go to St. Louis, and you got to be happy that you're in St. Louis. Now, again, money talks. I get all that. We'll see what happens with that. But the fact of the matter is, it would be great for all except for the Cubs, unless, of course, the Cubs got the next Adam Wainwright out of there or whomever. But if I'm Contreras, yeah, I got to go. And I'll be honest with you. I mean, let me say something else. Cub fans, people can say it however they want. But Cub fans are like Purdue fans looking at Indiana. Yeah, occasionally Purdue fans get they got the one up on Indiana, but they're always dying to be Indiana. Cub fans are dying to be the Cardinals. I'm telling you, every year, the Cardinals are going to be in it. Every year they're solid. Every year the bullpen is great. Every year, the same guys are hitting. The farm system brings the next guy up, and they're always around it. I mean, it's like it takes an act of God and a 6-year rebuild every third year for the frickin' Cubs to even make the playoffs or make a dent. But the Cardinals just do it like it's their frickin' job, which, by the way, it is. And it makes us nuts. Absolutely insane.
I try to tell that to my Cubs friends, and I'm an IU fan as well. So Cubs, Purdue people are the worst, part of that. But a lot of people may not know on the stream, if they're listening from St. Louis, I've checked, we have people from all over the country, but you are known for being at IU, played at IU under Bobby Knight, and then you also coach there as well. So you're known for that part of it. So some people may not know that. That's why you're a celebrity in Indianapolis, is because everyone knows who you are. And then you also locked up Michael Jordan, which is obviously.
Well, I kicked his ass. I mean,
yeah, I have a lot of memorabilia on my walls here, and maybe I should get a Dakich autograph with you guarding Michael Jordan.
Send me your address. I got a bunch, man. People get on me. They're like, "Well, you're so proud of guarding Michael Jordan." I go, "Well, wouldn't you be?" I go,
"Yeah,
no kidding."
And then they say, "Well, he only played 25 minutes." I go, "I don't give a damn if you stopped him for 1 minute looking like this. Are you kidding me?" No, I beat him out of $5,000 in golf, which he never paid, but that's a different story. So, yeah.
That's great. So you think going back to Contreras, you do think that would be a good fit for the Cardinals, even a good fit for Contreras if that happened this offseason?
Oh my God. Yeah. I think it'd be, like I said, I think it would be like us in Indy going from Manning to Luck. I do. I think you've got a great cat. Now, I don't think Contreras is on the level of Molina when Molina was, in his prime, but I think he's the best guy going. And if I were the Cardinals, and again, I don't know their salary structure. I don't know what they're looking at. I don't know, as you said, their young guys are whether they're good enough or not, whether they're ready or not. But I'm telling you, when I watch Contreras, and I watch him a lot, I see a couple things. One, I see a guy with command. I see a guy that commands a team. Now, again, is he Molina? No. Again, in his prime. I see a guy that can hit the baseball. You know what I mean? Like sometimes in this modern day, some catchers can, some can't, some are defensive guys. But I see a guy that's an athlete. I see a guy that I also see a guy that's stuck. Like, I think in your career, and it's funny, I talked to a number of guys that used to play for us in Indiana at different times about NBA careers. And they're like, the key to the NBA is not getting stuck, not getting pigeonholed. You're on a team, and you may be playing, but the team stinks. You're kind of in no man's land. You don't win enough. And I feel like Contreras is just stuck right now. Is he an all-star? Yeah, but he's not gonna be. Or if he is, he might be the only one. Hell, Ian Happ was an all-star, the only Cub. So I just feel like it would be great for him, get a little a fresh start. Obviously, there's a need with the Cardinals. I'd hate it because, again, here goes a guy leaving the Cubs, going to a rival. But if you're talking about real for the Cardinals and real for Contreras, I think it'd be great.
Yeah, I think it'd be a solid fit. I mean, obviously, the big difference between him and Yachty offensively, Contreras is a guy who's already hit 20 or more home runs, I believe, at least 4 times in his career. I'm looking here, 1, 2, 3, 4 times again this year, 20 or more home runs. Yachty only did that 2 times.
Right. He's definitely better off.
Definitely an
player.
Offensive upgrade. So I don't think Cardinals fans would hate that at all. And he's got a cannon of an arm. I want to kind of move to another side of this, the battery, the other end of Yachty. You talked about Adam Wainwright a little bit, and I know you talked about this last week, that the record that they just broke as battery mates, all-time MLB record, I think it's 525 starts, right?
325.
325.
Yeah.
Sorry, 525 would really be.
That'd be never.
But 325, Dan. I mean, what did you think when you saw that? Just the longevity of those two. Even Adam Wainwright now, who some people have kind of lumped him in with Albert and Yachty. And he's like, hey, I haven't said I'm done yet.
I didn't realize. I guess how sometimes guys are so consistent and they're out there every day. or every 5 days, and you don't really realize that Adam Wainwright's been there that long. I mean, I kind of did anyway realize that Molina has, but I should have realized going back to watching Wainwright in the playoffs. I think I was at Bowling Green or in the early 2000s, or I'm trying to think where I was, and he was pitching a masterpiece. I was at some game somewhere. When I saw that, and you go back and you think, man, there have been a lot of great catcher pitcher duos over time. And you think about now, everybody seems to get hurt, right? I mean, pitchers get Tommy John, and next thing you know, they're not pitch. It's really amazing. I don't think, you guys can tell me I'm wrong, but I don't think you're going to see too many, what's the right word, longevity records being set or broken in Major League Baseball from a pitcher's standpoint. Like, guys' innings and 300 wins. People say, well, you're not going to see any more 300 wins and pitchers with 300 wins anymore because guys don't go that long. 300 strikeouts or whatever, records were, you're not going to see that. So when you see one, you go, wow, that's pretty cool. Again, I go back to the Cardinals. Again, it hasn't always been that way. And Pujols is an example, but it seems to me the Cardinals keep their guys. It seems to me the Cardinals, for whatever the reason, I guess they get hurt like everybody else, but it seems to me as a Cub fan that they freaking play forever. And then when they don't, they bring in another guy who's just as freaking good, or they get a guy like that Freeze kid years ago that hits like 5 home runs in a row. And next thing you know, I want to puke everywhere. So anyway, I digress.
Well, you brought up earlier about going from Manning to Luck, and then one of our listeners has a question. I don't know if you can see it on the screen or not. He says, Dan, did you get your Colts sad out?
Sad's
Jason
probably not
Benetti,
the word.
The White Sox. Benetti's a White Sox announcer, and he and I talked on my show one time. I go, hey, Benetti, why don't you Uber to games? Like, you can't really drive, and he lives downtown. He's like, hey, man, if I sit there in an Uber station waiting, I'm going to have 8 million White Sox getting the sad out on me after we get our brains beat out. So that's a thing on our show. Like, all right, it's Monday. I'm going to be pissed. I'm going to be screaming, yelling, ripping everybody. Colts fans call in and get the sad out. No, answering the question. No, not yet. We're not letting this go at one day of getting the sad out. That was a historically bad loss against a nonsense franchise. So we're going to get the sad out tomorrow. Again, Wednesday, I got to be at the Pacers golf outing, so we're not going to probably get it out there. But I'll tell you this, tomorrow we're going to get the sad out too.
Well, yeah, you got to think a lot of our listeners are, either Rams fans or defunct to Kansas City fans. So Kansas City now coming to Indianapolis this week. I don't know if you're a season ticket holder, but I am, and I am not looking forward to it. But at the same time, I can also assume that the Colts could actually win that game because that's exactly what the Colts kind of do, where you get into a position of they're just terrible, and also they turn it all around, and then they could beat Kansas City. I mean, do you think that's a possibility on Sunday?
I think you're absolutely right. I do. I had season tickets for a long time. Pandemic hit, and I didn't renew them, or I got them through a guy, and I just didn't do it. Yeah, look, last year they play up to competition. I mean, before they crapped the bed at the end of the year, I think it was Christmas Day. What did they do? They went to play the Cardinals and whooped up on them. They went to San Francisco early in the year. They went to Buffalo. I mean, made Buffalo quit. This particular group, I feel like, plays to the level of competition. And I totally agree with you. Look, I think the Chiefs are wonderful. I think Patrick Mahomes is the Steph Curry of football. And he's the most fun guy to watch, the most dynamic passer that I have seen, meaning with all this kind of stuff and underneath, but the Colts play well against really good teams. So I don't know, I haven't really looked at the line or anything like that. But I'm not going to be surprised if this doesn't become a one-score game with the Colts having a real opportunity to win the game at the end. Absolutely not. I agree with you.
Yeah, I think it opened up as a 3-point favorite for which is Kansas City, which I think is that's an easy bet, I would say, because the odds that they're probably going to win, it's going to be more than that. But like you said, I think the Colts obviously have the opportunity. If you ever want to go to a game, you can come with me. My wife, she doesn't want to go to all the games, so you can definitely come to some.
When my wife and I would go to the game, my wife got to know the Bloody Mary lady. She got to know the Bloody Mary lady. It's like she'd be like, "Hey, Lee, how you?" I like going. I like going for the most part, but I got to tell you, uh, there's no, there's nothing quite like, at least for me. I do a morning show and an afternoon show. There's nothing quite like an NFL Sunday where, man, I don't have to move my. I had a friend. He. You know how people have these Fitbits on,
Yeah.
and they always brag. I got 20,000 steps and all this. His name is Brad Cohen. So Brad walks up to me. He goes, "Hey, you got your Fitbit?" I go, "Yeah." What do you try to do? I go, "My doctor told me to get 10,000 steps." He goes, "Wow, that's great." He goes, "I'll tell you what. I'll tell you a record you will never break." I go, "What's that?" He said, "On an NFL Sunday," and his wife was right there. He said, "On an NFL Sunday, I walked only 89 steps the entire day. The entire day, 89. And that's what I'm trying to break every Sunday. I'm trying to break that record, least amount of steps ever.
Absolutely. I mean, I like sitting on the couch and watching games, especially during baseball season when it's important for us Cardinals fans, which you may not be as used to as it gets towards the end of the season. Josh,
Yeah,
you have any
No, yeah, I need to get in the NFL more.
Yeah.
I've adopted the Colts. Yeah, I went to school in Tennessee, so obviously the Peyton Manning thing, that was the craze. It didn't matter what team he was going to play for. Everyone's a Peyton Manning fan around Tennessee. It's just how it is. It's the same way when he went to Denver. But man, I mean, I hope they can get together. It seemed like this weekend was really rough with everybody. I heard JMV earlier. I usually listen to him on the way home from work, and I think he had somebody call in complaining about Matt Ryan. He's like, "Look, this isn't all on Matt Ryan. You can't put it all on him."
They got to sign wide receivers in the offseason. That would be helpful.
That's the one thing I will say this, and you guys know, again, you know better than I, but I've always felt like this. I've always felt like the Cardinals, for whatever the reason, this is speaking as a Cub fan, are never short on guys. Now, somebody may get hurt, but I feel like there's never a massive rebuild. Right. Where, they're playing with Patrick Wisdom at third and, I don't know, some 30-year-old rookie in right and Frank Schwindel, who's a 32. I just feel like, and you mentioned in terms of the Colts, you got to sign wide receivers. Well, that's being short.
Right.
The one thing I learned, there are a lot of things I learned from Bob Knight and the other coaches that I worked with. And one thing that I always learn is you can be short on a lot of things, like but don't be short on talented guys. Like you can be a little short on discipline. You got to shore that up. You can be a little short on ball, blah, 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 whatever. But don't be short on talent. And I've always felt like, as a Cub fan, for whatever the freaking reason, the freaking Cardinals have never been short on talent. They never go through these rebuilds. It's exhausting. I hate it. We aspire, and the Colts right now seem to be short on players, whether it's linemen, whether it's, I don't know. Seemed like everything the other day. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I'll get you out of here on this. By the way, we would love to have Benetti on as well. I've sent him a message on Twitter. He never gets back. You should tell him to check his messages. Love to have Benetti on.
I will.
Love listening to him on your show. I think he's hilarious. Definitely would love to have him on. Or Boog Shambi as well. I like when he's on your show too. But talk a little bit about IU then. People probably don't care much about that, but I do. Are they going to be any good this year? Tell me they're going to be good. Are like really good? Colts people said they were going to be good, and we're seeing that now. But is IU for real this year or
basketball?
Yes. Not football. Absolutely not.
Well,
football.
the road to the college football playoffs goes through Bloomington. I mean, we're 3-0, by the way, and we're going to go to Cincinnati. I think Indiana's going to be really good. I think Indiana basketball is I said this back after the whole kind of by May, where the whole thing, it all settled in the transfer, who's not transferring. I told people, I go, look, Indiana's going to be the favorite in the Big Ten, and they are. They have the right guys back, and they've added guys that I think are pretty good, really good, actually. Now, there's a couple of things that have to happen. One, they got to stay healthy. They can't lose guys. But I think they kept the right guys. I think the Big Ten lost a lot. I think they're going to win the Big Ten. I think they'll get a good seed. The run in the tournament, I don't know. But I do think that they have size. They can shoot the basketball. They've got a ton of experience. They'll be one of the older teams in college basketball. And they're old not because they transferred in. They're old because a lot of these guys stayed there. And I think that's very, very big. I do. I think they're going to be terrific.
Oh man, I hope so. That's what we're. Oh, Brandon Gaudin was on our show. If you know, Brandon went to Butler's on radio, and
Yeah.
he said the same thing. It looks like they're actually going to be good this year. So, fingers crossed. And we really appreciate you coming on. I know you gave us 30 minutes. We really, really appreciate it. We have a lot of people listening right now and watching, and it's available on podcast later tomorrow as well. And so we really appreciate your time.
Yeah, thanks a ton, Dan.
I saw this. I saw Andrea said, and don't get caught smoking. Yeah, they don't need to get caught. See, here's the deal with Indiana. You went to Indiana, right?
I did not. My wife did, but I grew up in Southern Indiana, so everyone's a Hoosier. And all those Purdue fans, I like to tell them they're Hoosiers as well. They can never get away from it. But
all right, here's the deal. Indiana, we always said this. You got to get through Halloween.
Yeah.
Because Halloween has become a crazy ass thing on campus. A few years ago, one of their players got banged up pretty good. You got to get through Halloween. I always say this on my show. I'm not making any Indiana basketball game-by-game predictions until they get through Halloween. And nobody's in jail. Nobody's been kicked off. Halloween, baby. I'll have it like November 1st. I'll have my predictions, but I think they're going to be very good.
All right, Dan. We really appreciate your time. Look forward to listening to your show tomorrow and getting some more sat out with the Colts.
Got to get it out, man.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Thank
See
you.
you later.
Thanks, Dan. See ya.
All right, that was Dan Dakich, 107.5 ESPN in Indianapolis.
That was fantastic.
He's also on Outkick every morning. He has a show there. And also he is former IU great. I can't think of everything else he does, but he's known for a lot of stuff, and he is hilarious. And he likes to get, like we talked about with Max Kellerman, he likes to get
He's unapologetic as well.
Unapologetic.
Don't at me.
Yeah, don't at me. Sack up is what he says a lot in his show. I mean, he's a guy that whatever he feels, he's going to say it, and he doesn't really care how you feel about it. But we can go with some breaking news of sort this evening. The transaction report, I haven't seen on Twitter anywhere that's been sent except for us at the moment, but you can look it up if you want. But according to the transaction report on MLB's app, that the St. Louis Cardinals have optioned Nolan Gorman down to Memphis and have recalled Juan Yepez to the big club. To me, it was kind of shocking because I just don't think that
Katie Wu just sent that out.
She did? So look,
17 minutes ago.
She confirmed it for us. Everyone was saying it's a joke. We don't know what we're talking about, but we had it first. I like to be that way sometimes. Like, Max Kellerman's giving me some new energy. Like, hey, we're
scouring the transaction reports.
News here, all right?
We're
going to have everything. But, I was kind of shocked at first, and then I really thought, you know what? The outfielders have been abysmal. Yeah. And this is an outfielder move. Now, he's not a good outfielder, but what?
He's not any worse than Corey Dickerson.
He can play in the outfield. That's where because, obviously O'Neal is down. Maybe that injury is going to be worse than they thought. Maybe he's going to be more time on the IL than we think.
Well, there's not a whole lot of runway left to get him back from, even if it's a very minor grade hamstring,
Right. So that's my thought is maybe that's bad. But also, Corey Dickerson has done great.
Cooled off a lot this last week.
Newt has cooled off. Carlson has not been
He just got back.
Just got back.
Ideally.
Deluzio is not hitting.
No.
He's, so there's no option. So this move isn't really about Gorman as it is Juan Yepez, and he plays outfield. And you can't move, everyone keeps saying, what about Paul DeYoung? You can't move Paul DeYoung because he has no more options left. He has options left, but he has no more time served left that they would have to then clear waivers and that sort of thing. People don't understand that fully, but that's why he's not moved and it's Gorman instead.
Yeah, it makes sense for just like you said. And look, I was at the game Thursday. I was at the game Sunday. I think I saw probably the worst offensive games of the season. Both of those. 5 hits total and 2 runs total. But Dickerson, I believe he was playing the outfield for sure Sunday. I think he did Thursday as well. Man, his first step on routes when the ball's hit to him is awful. It's so bad.
It is.
The routes he takes.
He's a Gold Glover.
Yeah, I don't know if maybe it's just been, not, you hate to give excuses, but it could be, not playing as much out there this year. But man, he takes some rough routes to the ball. And I know Yepez has too when we saw him out there, but I don't think it could be much worse than that. Newt Barr's cooled off offensively. I think you'll see Newt Barr run out there every day still though, because he had a drop fly ball a few nights ago that was pretty bad. It led to some runs last week with Jordan Montgomery on the mound. But for the most part, he's been pretty good out there defensively. Cannon of an arm. I don't know why
Absolutely.
people are still running on him. He had
Yes.
another great one yesterday in center field. So he's going to be out there in right field or center field every day.
Right.
Newbar, I think with Carlson back now, I think the only reason maybe he wasn't out there yesterday is because it was a righty on the mound. He hasn't been hitting as well left-handed, and he had just played the day before in the doubleheader. So maybe they were giving him a little time. But I think we'll see Carlson out there more. I mean, it would not surprise me if tomorrow we see, or tomorrow's a righty with Clevenger, but especially against those lefties, would not surprise me if we see Yepez left field, Carlson center, Newbar and right.
And it's gonna
For
be
most
weird.
of this week.
It's gonna be weird to say this, but the Cardinals really miss Harrison Bader. Now,
Who's
Harrison
coming
Bader
back soon.
Harrison Bader was not a great hitter, and he had flashes of it, but they missed the stability of your everyday center fielder. Now,
Yeah.
what they got in return is awesome, was perfect, is exactly what the St. Louis Cardinals needed at the break, exactly what they needed at the trade deadline. It was perfect move.
But is it going to work out long term?
Well, yeah, but he's still they still swapping salary arbitration level, right? Arbitration 1 year left of each. Like
they had bought him out for next year.
okay, yeah,
So now the Yankees have that, but yeah.
right. You know what I mean? So like it still had those options
Yeah.
at the same level. So if they feel that badly about it, they go get him again after next year if they really
Yeah.
want to fill a hole. You're just missing the stability of who's going to play center, and that was nice. Personally, I'm always more of a purist of baseball, and like I want to know everyone plays the same position every game, and exactly, instead of all these matchups moving back and forth analytic parts, it's more like this is your guy playing center, this is your left fielder, this is your right fielder. Everyone's in the same spot. So the Cardinals are kind of missing that right now to be able to run out an everyday lineup. That's why Juan Yepez is up. Now, Juan Yepez has also been doing great in the minors, which he has done since he's came back from injury. And people thought he was coming up then. We were one of them. Brad Thompson had even alluded to it. Dan McLaughlin even alluded to it.
Called up Deluzio
They
instead.
called up Deluzio, which he was a spark, and he was the winning run on some plays in some games because of his speed. So it was the right move, definitely, to be able to bring up Deluzio. But now the move is made for Yepez because they need someone else that plays outfield. And I think he's going to get a run immediately tomorrow. I think that I don't see why you make that move and he doesn't immediately go into the game.
Yeah, unless you want to give Pearson one more start. Clevenger's a righty. But I still just like you said, I don't know why they would call him up if they're not going to throw him back in there right away. And I think it's a testament to Yepez. I mean, look, the guy, he had an arm injury from throwing. So he wasn't hitting great at the time, but he wasn't hitting bad. For him to go down, as long as he's been back down and not sulk and just get right back to work,
Right.
I think that speaks to some maturity. Now, he's a little bit older than Nolan Gorman. He's already 24, but I think that's a good thing to see.
Well, Paul DeYoung kind of did the same when you talk about maturity there. Like he didn't
for a long time.
He went back and did work. So then the question comes back around to where we talk a lot in the offseason of last year is where is Jeff Albert in the struggling young hitters?
When you saw today those comments we were talking about that Albert had
yes,
on
I forgot
analytics.
about that. So Albert being Albert Pujols said today, or we saw an interview and transcripted. I don't know where the interview.
I'm not sure where
was.
exactly it came from.
The transcript said pretty much that Albert's not a big fan of the analytics. He's semi-quote, to paraphrase, I'm blessed to play baseball and use this body, and that's what tells me how to hit. Pretty much is what he said. It
was pretty much a Q&A. I've got it right here if you want to read it real quick.
Go ahead.
You got asked about the biggest change since your rookie season. What do you like the most? What do you like the least? The biggest change I've seen, says Pools, is the analytics stuff. Don't get me wrong. I mean, there's some good things to learn there. I just think it becomes a problem when you take those gifts and talent and wisdom from human beings and trying to rely on computers and numbers. I don't think the computer can tell you how to be mentally strong and tough. And then later he talks about a little bit more about it, and the end quote here, and this is maybe where it ties more to Jeff Albert. Maybe I need to sit down with one of these analytics people and let them explain it to me to make me think different than I think and show me the way that they see it. But right now I'm telling you the way that they present it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, and so
that last sentence, the way they present it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
I'm just curious who's they? Because Jeff Albert is his hitting coach this year, and he's the one that's presenting these analytics, I think. And look, and you can see shots of Albert Pujols in the dugout all the time after a big hit. He's always talking to Jeff Albert. He seems like they're pretty good friends. I'm sure they've got a history with as long as Jeff Albert's been in the organization. So I don't think it was necessarily Albert trying to take a knock, at Jeff Albert, Pujols that is. But, I mean, that right there tells you, Albert's not paying too much attention to it.
And I've said this different times this year, and I said it in the offseason as well. I don't think Jeff Albert is a bad analytics hitting coach. I think they have established a system with inside the entire organization, and this is how we're going to bat. We're going to barrel balls. We're going to hit them hard. That's like the analytical part of it. But there needs to be a guy that is a hitting coach that comes in and says, this is what you're doing wrong, this is what I'm seeing, and this is how we need to change it. And that's not analytical.
No.
That is a hitting coach. That, like, you can make Jeff Albert the hitting analytical czar of the entire organization. He needs to be locked away in a room somewhere about analytics. And someone, Matt Holliday, Jim Edmonds, Albert Pujols next year, needs to be the hitting coach.
Take that data from him, figure out how to present it in a good way.
But the problem is no one gets, once there's a slump, we don't see guys get out of it, right? We don't see these young guys get back on track. Someone needs to be there going and helping them getting back on track and figuring that out. And the data isn't proving that. Whenever the guys go back down to the minors, what happens? Now they're figuring it back out. That's the most concerning thing to me. Now, if it happens,
it doesn't
again,
make sense because they keep saying that Jeff Albert is the one who's implemented the entire minor league hitting philosophy.
I don't know who the minor league hitting coach is, but I assume there's also real life brain looking at you and going, "You're doing this and that. We need to change."
Well, we saw it when Gorman first came up. Jim Edmonds pointed it out. Brad Thompson pointed out the leg kick.
Right.
Gorman got rid of his big leg kick, and he was having a lot of success early on. And I haven't paid as much attention. He hasn't been getting as many starts lately because of Albert, but Pujols that is. But it's just like you said. I mean, Gorman struggled, couldn't get out of it.
Right.
Yepes struggled there for a while, couldn't get out of it, and then he had the arm injury.
So why, like, I don't like to harp on this, but why does Paul DeYoung go down to Memphis and then hit? I don't know, 20 bombs, I think, though?
He wasn't great still in the other numbers, but he was hitting for power again.
Then he comes back up and has that hotness
for a week,
and then falls off again. What is that? Is that he's just I like some people say, a 4A player? He's not good. He's not AAA. He's too good for AAA, and he's not good enough for MLB. He's a 4A player. Yeah. Is he that, or is it that he doesn't get that whatever's happening in Memphis continue down? Yepes struggled. Went down, crushing the ball. Gorman killed it up in the minors, comes up, kills it for a while, and then he's also striking out now, but he was doing that in the minors as well. I think Gorman is a casualty of this, not because of his poor performance. And I don't think a lot of people understand that and why. But like Gorman's at 29 home runs collectively, batting 800 plus OPS between the two leagues.
Right.
Like, that's who he is, and that's what he's going to do. But he's still going to bat 230 to 245 and strike out 30% of the time.
Yeah.
And they all know that. And if you look at Facebook, and you know, it's just a tough place to look. But like when you look at Facebook and people just like, he strikes out all the time. Like, yes, but that's anticipated. That's expected. Yeah. That's who he is. He took 0 at bats for 5 days last week.
Yeah, that's tough. That's tough for a young guy.
Like when Brendan Donovan first got called up, he was getting just a little here and there, and he was terrible, right? He didn't get any hits. Well, that's because he didn't get any repetition. Albert Pujols, when the season, he wasn't getting a lot of reps, and he wasn't very good. Baseball is about repetition and getting on the field and be able to, that's when it happens when you're too deep sometimes. Yeah. You don't get enough going around. But I don't think this is about Nolan Gorman as it is about Juan Yepes and the struggling outfielders where they're just trying to find someone to add some pop because, as you just said, in the 2 games you went to over the weekend,
nobody's doing it.
It's not happening. I mean, Goldie's not doing it, and Arenado is showing some flashes again. Hopefully, we're back on track. But man, it's been a rough. So part of the bullet point is transitioning from that to, are we worried about the offense? My question to you, and has been for the last couple of weeks, did they peak too soon, or are we just not getting back on track? Like, is it a peaking issue, or this team is so much better than it is? It's not about peak. It's about struggling at the moment.
I think this week's going to be very telling.
Yeah.
If they're really just playing down to the competition, then logic would tell you this week that they should play up to the competition. And so am I worried about the offense right now? Like, yeah. I mean, it's been over 2 weeks now.
Well, it goes back to at Cincinnati.
The 13-inning game that nobody wanted to win.
And Goldie was started struggling, and in Cincinnati. That's been 3 weeks now, I do believe.
Yeah, into August.
Yeah, so that's where my concern lies is Goldie. Are you worried that Goldie doesn't win MVP? Like, is that a possibility now? I saw one that shows Goldie Arenado now 1-2 in vote possibilities. That's bad, I think, for the both of them as well. If
Oh,
they're
yeah.
1-2 as well.
Yeah, you'll see a Tim Lincecum winning the Cy Young in 2010 or whenever that was, and
Right.
Carpenter and Wainwright split votes when Wainwright or
Right.
Carpenter should have won it.
And obviously MV3 when there were 3 guys in the top
Yeah.
5.
I hope. I mean, if I were voting today, I would probably have Goldschmidt, Arenado, and then probably Mookie Betts third. Is probably where I would be. I mean, you could argue Freddie Freeman, but he doesn't have the power numbers.
Right. His average is the highest.
Average is great. He leads the majors in hits, but man, I think Goldie should still win MVP because he's so far ahead in so many of the other big categories like OPS and slugging and on base and all the big ones aside from home runs and RBIs, which he's still got a lot of those too.
He's not in the lead on
He's
average.
not. Freeman's
He's
taking
not
him over an
average.
average.
He's not a leader in home runs. He's not a leader.
Yeah.
leader
Which
in
I don't
RBI.
think. I mean, even when we were talking about Triple Crown, you and I both said home runs is going to be the hardest thing for him.
But now he's not leading in any of the categories.
No, he's
like
not.
that's how far it's come down. Is now.
I think RBI he was still there as of yesterday, but then Pete Alonso just hit a 3-run bomb against the Brewers here tonight. So I think he took that back over. So
yeah, it's concerning. The MVP, the Triple Crown, the 3 weeks of Goldschmidt. How this team goes, it needs one really good hitter to get things moving.
Yeah.
In April, it was Nolan Arenado. He was the NL Player of the Month.
Yep.
And then
May was Goldie.
Right? And then that's
June, July was Goldie.
as long as one of those two were going, the team was winning.
Yeah.
And when they both got together and got on for the first time ever as Cardinals, when they both after the All-Star break, when they both were mashing together,
mid-July to the
Yes.
mid-August into August was incredible.
that was when this team was at its best. Is when both of those guys were hitting, and then you had the other guys able to, but you can't put back Tommy Edman, what he did early on in the season that really carried whenever Arenado went cold for his short time. And speaking of Tommy Edman,
yeah, look at this.
It's
Shirt came in. Let me.
Tommy Two-Bag. It's reversed too, but he doesn't know how to use the mirrored camera.
don't.
But yeah, Tommy Two-Bag shirt.
I'll turn my camera off.
Yeah, Tommy Two-Bag shirt from Breaking Tea. Be sure to use our link that's in on Spotify, Facebook, all the links. It's in our link tree on Twitter. Like I meant to ask Dakich. Dakich has a charity, by the way, Cycles in the City for Indianapolis. I'm going to get that link and put it in our link tree as well. If we get one bike donated, I think that I feel like we did something. So Dakich Cycles for the City, I'm going to put that charity link in our link tree as well. But back to the links part. So the Tommy Two Bags, you had it right. Flip it again. You had it right.
Did I have it?
You had it for.
Let's go back. There we go.
One flip. There it is. Now show it.
There it is.
Tommy Two Bag shirt.
that.
Get it at Breaking Tea. The link is in our link tree. You have to use our link, so we get credit for that. Tommy
BreakingT.com/That's a Winter Pod.
That's what it is. So yeah, so check that out. It has Cardinal stuff. It has Colt stuff. It has Kansas City Chiefs. It has Mizzou, IU,
college sports teams,
It has everything on there. You just have to originate from our link, and we get all the credit for that to be able to get there. Breaking Tea, the shirts are. Their concept is wear the moment. So whatever's happening right now, like Grind the Pepper shirt is out there, and it's awesome. All those types of whatever your team is doing, and maybe inside jokes that only you and the fans of that know. Those are the types of shirts that they're making. Be sure to check out BreakingT.com/That's a Winter Pod. Links also all of our links on our different places wherever you're finding us.
Giving out some great advertising copy.
Hey,
for this,
we have, and we appreciate Breaking Tea.
Yeah.
We appreciate SGG Media. We haven't really done anything for that one, but they gave us money, and we also
they'll probably start sending us stuff when the playoffs come.
Yeah, and then also Anchor. We're making money from 3 of those locations, and we appreciate it. And because everyone listens on here, on Spotify and Apple and everywhere else you find podcasts, it's able to give us the opportunity and the ability to be able to have more and more stuff and better content and better looking content. Yeah. So we appreciate that.
Yep. And again, with the offense going to the 2 games I went to this week, yes, I'm pretty concerned.
You weren't in you didn't go to the 2019 NLCS, right?
No.
Okay. Those were the 2 worst games that I ever been to.
Now I did go to
worst. By worst, I mean worst hitting I've ever seen in a game.
I did go to game 4, which I believe was at Busch. and that was when Wainwright started
Of what? Of what?
of against the Braves. Sorry, in the first round.
Okay.
So that game we lost, I believe, 1 or 2-0.
Yeah.
Waino went 8 innings. I think he gave up 1 run. The offense had like 3 or 4 hits. Nothing to show for it. Carlos Martinez came in the ninth, gave up another run, and then we lost 2-0.
Like, I would like to pull up, like, our the batting order from then. Like, that team is just a terrible batting order. Like, the lineup is so bad. And to think that this team currently built, should not even be close to having any numbers like that. And that's what I don't understand. It all leads me back to freaking Jeff Albert. I don't understand how this team can go into those types of slumps as a whole.
Yeah.
I just don't get it. Like, when you have Tommy Edman at the top, where he should be whenever he's playing well, right? Or if he's on versus a lefty, he should definitely be at the top. He's a 5+ WAR guy this year. Then you have Brendan Donovan. I think who should probably be batting second right now.
At least lead off for second.
Yeah.
I mean, his OBP is still 400 almost.
Right,
So.
or Lars, depending on whatever the matchup is. But you have those two guys, and then you have Goldie Arenado, and then you have Albert, who's mashing the ball. I don't understand how this team is struggling like it is currently, and how you can even rival terrible experiences like the 2019 lineup. The 2019 team just overachieved massively for what they were in that lineup. This team.
You want to hear the lineup from Game 1 of the NLCS that we lost 2-0 to the Nationals?
Yeah, I was there. I don't. Was that the Scherzer game? I assume, and then Anibal Sanchez was the next one, or
Game 1 had to have been Scherzer. I'm sure. Batting leadoff, playing center field was Dexter Fowler. Then you had Colton Wong batting second, Goldschmidt, Ozuna, Molina was batting fifth. That was the Yachty. That was the Yachty batting fifth days.
That should tell you where that lineup is Yachty or Molina batting fifth in the NLCS.
Yeah. Matt Carpenter was at third base, batting sixth.
Not hitting well that year.
Tommy Edman was in right field, batting seventh.
Yeah.
Paul DeJong was at shortstop, batting eighth. Miles Michaelis started Game 1 of the NLCS.
So why do you think Paul DeJong was batting eighth? Because he was still the Paul DeJong he is right now.
Yes.
That lineup is garbage.
Yeah.
And they made it because of pitching mostly, I guess. Like, I mean, Ozuna didn't do much that year. Matt Carpenter had sensational runs, but that wasn't the year for a sensational run either. Like, how did that team make the NLCS? How did it happen? And then you're comparing my worst batting scene in person. Oh, I thought we were getting no hit 2 times. Like, I thought we were getting no hit in 2 straight games, and I was...
In Scherzer, you could understand. You could,
but I want to see...
Not Anibal Sanchez.
But I want to see scratching runs. I want to see bunting, moving the ball over. When you know you're going against a guy like that, like, you got to do whatever you got to do to get on base and move guys over. There was... You know who had the only hits in... I don't know if it's both games or one game, but you know who the only guy to get a hit?
Who?
Jose Martinez. Then they traded him in the offseason. The only guy to get a hit in the NLCS for the Cardinals at home was Jose Martinez, and they traded him that year. I was like, hold on.
With Randy Arozarena, who
would
be kind of nice to have right now.
Right.
Honestly.
Yes, depth.
I mean,
Adolis Garcia too. But
yeah.
Yes. Guys that are...
Look, I know those guys aren't like tearing it up this year, and Arozarena fell back down to earth. Adolis Garcia is going to hit 30 home runs again.
I think he already has.
He's going to hit 30 home runs again. Randy Arozarena's around a 2020 season.
Yeah.
But you know what these guys are doing that O'Neill and Carlson and Bader aren't doing?
Every single day.
They're on the field.
Yeah.
They're on the field.
Every single day.
There's something to be said for that. And let's be honest here. They traded Randy Arozarena because he took a non-flattering video of Mike Schilt cussing.
Absolutely.
Maybe
that's why Schilt actually got fired. Is because you forced us to this
is your fault.
You forced us to get rid of Arozarena. Now all we ever hear about is Arozarena, and our philosophical differences is that trade, and we have to get rid of you now for that.
Oh man.
Maybe that's where it all stemmed from.
Yeah, I'm worried about the offense. I'm a little worried about the rotation. I'll be honest with you.
Yes,
I think
it hasn't been good. Dakota Hudson has the best start in the last 2 weeks.
And Quintana threw 8 the other day. Him and Dakota were fantastic in that doubleheader.
I think Dakota's really good.
That's the best he's looked all year.
I think that's who Dak is. I think that's really who he is.
I don't know if he's that good, but I'm talking about even in terms of the pace. He was finally working quicker.
Well, the pitch clock's coming next year.
Well, and he had to deal with it his last few weeks in the AAA, so maybe that
he pitched very well in AAA.
Yeah.
I think we still look at Dakota Hudson as he's coming off of injury.
Yeah,
and
he's coming off Tommy John's first year. I mean, Waino had a ERA near 4 his whole first full season back from Tommy John.
I'm not saying go sign him to an extension by any means, but I'm
No.
saying like give the guy a chance, give the guy some time. And I told you 2 weeks ago when he got sent down, he's going to start another game. People are like, no, he's not starting again.
So, by the way, Katie said in her tweet earlier on Yepes and Gorman that the Cardinals are carrying a taxi squad to San Diego, and Hudson is going to stay on that. So
yeah, he was sent down yesterday, technically, I think.
Yeah, so he'll be on the taxi squad.
And that's my point is they were putting him in Memphis to stay on schedule, to pitch every 5th day, so whenever the doubleheader came around, that he was up. And people didn't like to hear that. People didn't understand that, but that's why he's
Who
there.
else were you going to bring?
I mean, BK had talked about for 3 weeks that it's time for Woodford, and this was going to be Dax. I think a month ago, this was his final start in the major league.
I mean, I could see the argument for giving Woodford a chance to start. I mean, look, he came in yesterday.
Dakota has a contract.
Yes,
He was always getting that start. They're going to live and die right now with what they know is next year.
Yeah.
Woodford is not in the plans for next year or the next year or the next year as a starter.
No. He's a long man.
Yeah, Dakota Hudson is the plan. They either need to figure out or cut loose.
Yeah,
and that's what
better hope.
Right, that's what they have to do.
Better hope he can be your 4 or 5.
Absolutely, that's why he's getting the starts, and that's why they put him back to Memphis to get on schedule and to pitch in the doubleheader, and he looked great. So. Should Dax start again? Maybe so. Maybe he needs another look this year. He looked that good that I'm like,
I don't know where you. I don't know where you put him right now.
Yeah, I don't think there's a lot of off days left.
Yeah, there are several more off days.
So that messes up the rotation even more.
I don't think we have any more double headers.
I think that's it. I think next Monday's an off day, and then Thursday I think is an off day again.
I could see him getting another start if they want to give Waino or Michaelis a skip start. And maybe give them
a break.
Especially now hearing that Waino was going through dead arm.
Oh yeah, we haven't talked about that.
I
don't think, right?
I could see why they might. Waino pitches tomorrow, so I think that's a big test for him tomorrow. See how he's feeling. See how he comes out of that. Montgomery was flying. I mean, he gave up 1 run the other day through 5 innings, struck out 10. 9 or 10, was doing great, and gave up a 2-run bomb.
But the offense,
it happens.
The offense didn't do anything.
Didn't do anything, so it didn't matter. But I was going to say to Jake Woodford's point, that guy's come up and just thrown up zeros. To his credit, he came in yesterday, inning and 2/3, looked great, striking people out,
I'll go back
getting
to Kyle
outs.
McClellan. That's who he is. That's his role,
and that can be an important role.
Absolutely.
So if you need him as a long man in that with Palante as your other long man, that's totally fine.
Happy birthday, Palante.
Oh, is he? How old is he now?
Oh,
20.
wow.
He's got to be young.
He's
24, 25, something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I'm a little worried about the rotation. I honestly, I mentioned this last week, and I'm standing by it. I think you've got to seriously consider, especially based on the matchup. So, like we were talking earlier, let's say it's the Phillies that we play.
24th birthday.
Okay, 24th.
Andre Palante.
Happy 21st birthday, Andre.
I'm sure he's listening right now.
Yes. I think you've got to seriously start considering, especially based on the matchup. Let's say we play the Phillies first round. A lot of big left-handed power
which it
hitters.
Is currently lined up to be so.
Yes.
Currently.
Yeah. If it ended today,
Yes.
we would be playing the Phillies because they're on a 4-game losing streak, and the Padres are on a 3-game winning streak, so they're ahead of them right now. I think in that scenario, I don't think I would pitch Miles Michaelis in that scenario, even at home. And I know his numbers have been good at home, but we're talking about this is like 3 or 4 starts in a row now. He's not gone deep. He's been very hittable. A lot of home runs.
Up in the zone
a lot. And I legitimately, at this point, I would go Wainwright number 1 because he's your guy. I mean, you've got to ride with Wainwright because he's done it the whole year, and he's still grinded through a dead arm and still been effective.
Right.
So you go him game 1. I think you go Montgomery game 2. I would go Jose Quintana for game 3 right now.
So
in a wild card
I think I
round.
brought this up last episode. My question is money and contract.
Yeah.
I think the question I asked was, has Michaelis earned that start in the playoffs because of his season this year?
Maybe.
And also he has the contract that he's your guy next year.
Yeah.
Quintana is not. Maybe not, right?
Yeah.
He's Quintana is
No,
a rental.
I don't see him back next year. Not Quintana.
And I
because you have Matz and Montgomery now. You're not gonna have 3 lefties in the rotation.
Well, they just drafted 17 more lefties as
They
well.
did.
But
yeah.
But that's kind of my thought on it. I don't disagree. I don't think there's a wrong answer of with the order. I don't think there's a wrong answer of who gets the starts, but I just think if I'm thinking business-wise, Cardinals-wise, what they're thinking and saying,
Yeah.
I think that Michaelis is going to get an
And he
is
did
gonna get
carry,
an
I mean, to
opportunity.
Michaelis's credit, he carried you the first half.
Yeah, he absolutely did.
So most innings he's pitched in what, 2 or 3 years.
Right,
I mean,
and because Matz was hurt and Flaherty was hurt, and
Yep.
I think
he really stepped it up. for him.
Wainwright, Miles, Michaelis, and Dakota Hudson were the only ones to pitch. I can't remember the number. Were the ones that pitched a certain level. No one else. Those were the 3 highest
Right.
of innings pitched, and so those were the guys that really were coming out every 5 days and not being injured.
187.1, 187 and a third innings pitched this year for Michaelis, which I believe is second in, if not baseball, for sure in the NL. He threw 200 over 200 innings, 202 thirds. 2018 his first year for us, 184 innings in 2019, and then of course injured 2020 season, injured last year. So I don't know. It seems like Marl. It seems like all he really has been on. I'm putting the best lineup and the best pitchers out there for us to win. That he thinks. So we've seen this with Quintana. We've seen it with Michaelis when he can't go deep. If he don't think the guys have got it, he's taking them out.
Right.
And bringing Palante or bringing it with Quintana, they've piggybacked Hicks. And I've actually liked that a lot lately. Now this weekend, Quintana was fantastic.
And
so you
Hicks
let him go 8.
is on the IL, right? Now.
Hicks has hit the IL, and I've seen a lot of Twitter chatter of kind of, they were talking about it today on BK. It seemed like they think that there's some gamesmanship of, we think you've turned a corner. We're going to give you some time, like 10 days. We're going to give you 10 days off because we think you're good. Because it seemed like they were saying it seemed like they kind of just threw in, and he's had, neck stiffness. Like,
right.
I think it was, I forget the young kid's name they've got on BK and Ferrario. He just had to do one of them. Tanner, yeah. I think he was saying, he said that kind of sounded like Jordan Hicks woke up, that morning and was like, yeah, my neck's kind of stiff. Oh, that's an IL. We're just going to throw an IL for a little bit. So I don't know if that makes sense. I mean, the arm fatigue is a little bit worrisome because I think it said arm fatigue and neck stiffness. So hopefully he's okay because he was turning a corner, man. He has looked fantastic the last 2 or 3 weeks.
He's been the bright spot of the pitching staff in general.
And could be a real, along with Helsley, could be a really big weapon for you in the playoffs, especially if a guy can only give you 4 or 5 innings. Like Quintana had been doing, or like Michaelis has done a few times. You could bring Jordan Hicks in and give you an inning or 2 and blow people away to bridge that gap. And I hope he's back by the playoffs. I think there's a way better chance of him being back in time than Tyler O'Neill. But the outfield's in trouble, man. Offensively, that's where we're hurting right now. And rotation-wise, it hasn't been as consistent. Not terrible. And I think the offense has been so bad that it's magnifying your starters not doing as well. I mean, I'm sitting here saying, Montgomery did all right. 5 2/3, 3 runs or less. I mean, that's almost a quality start. Waino's been giving you 5 or 6, 3 runs or less. Michaelis, he hadn't been as good lately, but that should be good enough to win some games. But it just hasn't been because the offense has been giving you absolutely nothing. So I'm hoping this really has just been like the offense is like, these are bad teams. We're not really into it. We're going to get it together. We'll go out on the West Coast. But it just doesn't seem like that's any of these guys' personalities. That's not Arenado's personality. When Albert hit that home run Saturday late to tie the game, 698, Arenado was on second, and it was like pumping his fist,
Right.
and Albert came home, and he was high-fiving him. Like, I don't think it's a matter like these guys don't want to win.
Right.
I think they very clearly want to win, and even for a little bit there, Ollie was saying, go for the 2 seed. Why not? At the time, we were 4 back of the Mets, but I think that's out of reach now. But it alarms me because it's been against really bad pitching.
Right.
If we were facing the Max Scherzers and Jake DeGroms and Zach Wheelers and Aaron Nolas, or Yu Darvish on the Padres, who's been great for them, the last 2 months, I would kind of say, all right, well, we just ran into some tough pitching, but this has been really bad pitching.
Well,
the Reds have awful pitchers.
I think kind of what Dakich said about the Colts, and I think the Cardinals are historically,
especially these last few years.
You play up and down to your competition. I mean, I think that's the MLB.
It just doesn't make sense. There's no way to explain it.
The MLB season is very long, right? And I think that they they know they got to get up for certain games, even though they don't want to admit that they get up for certain games. But when you're playing against Atlanta, the Braves came to town. That was playoff atmosphere.
It was
baseball,
and they stepped up,
and they did. And so I would think. I say that I'm kind of contradicting myself in my own thought, but like whenever they have all these people in the stands watching Pujols, you think there'd be more energy there, and they'd be playing better because of it. But also they're still playing the Reds, so they play down to that competition. I just don't get it at all. But that's like my only real thought on it. Is like they're playing down, and whenever they play against good teams this week, then all of a sudden they're going to pick it up again.
I hope so. Yesterday, man, I mean, no one was working counts. Even Brendan Donovan. But he first pitch swinging. It looked like guys were like, let's just get this game over with, get on the plane, get to San Diego.
I'm not saying I know anything about hitting, which I do a little bit. I tell my almost 2-year-old, keep your hands above the barrel as he's swinging off that tee. Like, above the barrel, kid. My wife's like, he has no idea what you're talking about. I was like, he's going to at some point. Anyways, why even in my softball league or, playing baseball as a kid, like someone would say, hey, you need to take better bats, take more pitches. Let's run deep counts. Like, these are things that were said from guy to guy, from coach to players, and from people in the dugout. Like, isn't that like Jeff Albert's job to be a part of that? Isn't that like, I mean, I guess you can't say that he's not doing that, but you can't see these guys and think, yeah, they're grinding out at bats. That's the whole slogan of the damn year, is talking about grinding out at bats, and then they're swinging at every pitch. It doesn't make sense to me. Like the Reds suck. They're at home. Let's get this game over with quickly. Like, one of those games was fast. I don't remember which game it was. Probably the Thursday one.
Yeah. That was the one I was at.
Yeah, it was like,
I don't even think it was 3 hours.
Yeah. And maybe like we're at home. We want to go out tonight. I want to see my family. Like, I don't know if it is a long season. Maybe that's part of what it is, and maybe this off day today is very helpful.
If this was June,
yeah, but we're up
July,
8 games.
I get it, man, but it's September. You know what I mean? This time last year, we were riding a 17-game win.
What happened in September last year?
Well, they had to. They had to play like that to get in. Their backs were against the wall.
So what happened whenever the Cardinals started playing really well this year? They were trailing
4 games.
They were 4 games back from the Brewers.
That's true.
So like they play better when they have to. So that's what it makes you think. I think this week, hopefully, we're seeing them turn a corner of like, this is who we're playing in the playoffs. We may very well see the Padres in the playoffs, and hopefully we get to see the Dodgers in the playoffs.
Yeah, that means we've gone deep.
Right. So these are 2 series that we need to figure it out right here. We need to show them what we're going to be able to do, and we need to understand what their pitching is going to do. We need to understand defensive placements. We need to get ready for possibility of playing these 2 teams.
And you're going to be tested, because tomorrow you've got Clevenger, who's arguably Padres' worst starter this year. He's only 5-7, 4.47 ERA. But then you've got Blake Snell. He'll be in their playoff rotation.
Absolutely.
7-9. He's got a 3.85 ERA. That's a lefty. Then you got Joe Musgrove, who probably would start game 1 for them. Yeah. I mean, he's been their ace. He's only 10-7, but he's got a 3.16 ERA.
And through
the no-hitter for him a year or two ago.
The only no-hitter in Padres history last year.
Yu Darvish, been great for them. Now,
are we going to see him?
We're not going to see him. So
he's been hot lately too. So.
Yeah, Musgrove and Snell we will see, but you would see Darvish. You would see him in the playoffs for sure.
Right.
And then L.A. doesn't get any. It's not going to get any easier. I haven't looked yet to be able to tell. All of these are TBD right now, but my guess would be that we might face Urias, who's got a freaking ERA under 3. That kid's been fantastic for them. Most of the Dodgers starters somehow have ERAs under 3. We haven't talked a lot about it right now, but the Brewers, they're down 7-2 in the 8th.
I was hoping it would end while we're talking. So
yeah. So did you see? I was just looking here and saw some Twitter chatter. Max Scherzer got taken out on 69 pitches after the 6th inning with a perfect game.
Interesting. We've had the game on, so I did not notice that.
I just saw it. Yeah, I saw it on my app. 6 innings, 69 pitches, 9 Ks, perfect game. The only reason I can think that they did that because I think this is his first start back from his whatever injury he had, right?
Yeah, so he was on a pitch count.
Probably. That had to be the only reason.
Right.
Because, I mean,
I'm
kind of surprised.
Welcome back from the IL.
Even he would have let you take him out.
Wow.
With a perfect game. He was just tearing the Brewers up. So
and the Braves won tonight as well.
Yep.
So the Braves beat the Nationals 5-2.
So not looking like we're going to catch those two,
yeah,
which it was a long shot to begin with. So
Absolutely long shot. And I still actually I believe the Braves will win that division actually.
they're half a game back now, but obviously they'll Mets hopefully wrap this one up. They'll still be one back. Mets win this, they'll have won their 5th in a row. Braves won their 4th in a row tonight.
Yeah, so they're both playing. Again, it kind of goes back to when you have
It's a
to
fun
start
race for them.
you have to start winning, and that's going to propel them. If you told me that the Braves or the Mets win the World Series, I'm going to say yeah, it makes sense because those guys are playing important games all the way to the very last game. When the Cardinals have won the World Series that we can think of, 11-6, they were not good teams. They got hot, barely got into the playoffs, and took that run in September and early October and turned it into actual winning games in the playoffs.
Yeah.
That's usually the teams that are winning. Now, I think they're trying to get away from that with the wild card setup. They want to make it more difficult.
Yeah.
They want to make it so the better teams win more likely at the end. I think that's the kind of the point of the wild card
especially
setup.
with the bye.
Right. That's the
But
point.
we've never seen this before.
The bye could hurt.
It could.
Absolutely.
I mean, it could.
The Dodgers could come out super soft.
Yeah.
And if you're playing the Braves, or I think it's would be Braves.
The Dodgers would play
the winner of Braves.
Yeah.
Right now would be Padres. Braves would play the Dodgers. If that's what would be set up now. So if you're telling me the Braves and the Mets are going back and forth to the very end of the season, and then they have to play, and they're playing important games. The Braves then beat the Padres, and the Dodgers have been sitting. Yeah, I could see the Braves continuing to win.
Yeah,
and the Braves are
it
pretty
wouldn't
darn
surprise
good.
me.
And the Dodgers are good too. Don't get me wrong. Obviously, they've won 100 games.
Yeah,
but like
it's going to be tough in the NL this year for the playoffs. I mean, it's going to be really tough after you get out of that first round because the Mets, just like you said, the Mets, the Braves, and the Dodgers. I could see any three of those winning the pennant. I mean, any three. And it wouldn't surprise me.
Right.
I mean, the Braves were better than they were last year, and they won it all last year.
Right, and they did what last year?
Got hot.
At the end.
Against the wall. Yeah.
That's what has happened in the playoffs.
And we're not going to be in that boat.
No, not.
I mean, we shouldn't be.
We're not going to
unless
be
we lose 8 in a row this week.
Unless we start figuring it out all of a sudden, too. Like I would rather.
But you're 3 outs away from your magic number being 7.
Right, but why not? Why not use the opportunity of what they? I've really liked Ollie this year. I think that he's done a better job of playing matchups and doing the things that.
And he's managed the veterans really well.
He's done
like
things
Albert
that he's refused that Schilt refused to do.
Yeah.
Paul DeYoung especially. But what I didn't like was they asked him about the Mets and catching the Mets, and he said, "We don't care." That was his quote about it. "We don't care. We're just going to play, and if we're going to do what we do, and if they don't do what they're supposed to do, then we'll make it close." That's that to me doesn't scream, "Let's go get this."
Yeah.
Like you could still do it if you won. If you went on a hell of a win streak and they kept winning and losing at their normal clip, you would still catch them.
Yeah.
So like I wish there was more put on that, so it gives them something to try and play for, like to get them up for it. But I think that they're just too comfortable at the moment. And I think hopefully going to San Diego tomorrow. Well, they're there today, and going to San Diego and then going to Dodgers in LA, that it should hopefully.
And those final 2 against the Brewers in Milwaukee.
There's a day off between.
Yep.
So that's So there's a day off Monday, and then back to Milwaukee for 2, then another day off, and then back home. So do you want to
final 6 are against the Pirates? So you talk about
3 at home, 3
maybe
on the
going
road.
in, playing, high. I mean, by that point, you're going to know you're going to be setting up the playoff rotation and all that. By that point, that by those last 6 games
Absolutely.
against the Pirates. So how hot are they going to be going into the playoffs?
Yeah, you got.
Do you even play some of those guys for fear of injury?
You got to
what if we look up next week at the start of the last 6 games against the Pirates and Paul Goldschmidt still hasn't hit a home run or only has 1 home run this month or whatever it is, and he's still hitting bad? Like, don't you think he should probably play?
Absolutely.
Those 6 games.
He needs yes
to try to hit his way out of it.
I think yes, you need to figure out what yes, you need something. Oh, you gotta send him down to Memphis? I mean, what like?
Or you're just going to let the young guys play, which, I mean, if they're not going to be part of the playoff roster, I don't know how that helps you a lot, or if they're not going to be starting.
Right.
So it's going to be really interesting, but I am worried. I mean, I'm more worried about the offense overall than anything else, but
let's
see
talk,
how it goes.
We'll talk about, we're going to handicap the next series and the next 2 series and say what we think is going to happen. But what we didn't get to is Albert hitting 700. So he's at 698 now. You predicted last week that he would hit it on Sunday.
I was really hoping.
Was that last week? Last show? I don't remember exactly when it was.
I thought he was going to get it done this homestand.
I said,
and I still felt good about it after, what was it, Friday night that he had the big home run to tie the game late.
And then had 2 games on Saturday available to do it. And I said I thought it was going to happen on the West Coast. I thought I had one last week, like it happened. I see 1 this week, and then it's going to come down to either in Milwaukee or in St. Louis, I think. I think there's going to be a lot of tight butt cheeks, as they say, in St. Louis if he hasn't hit 700 yet. In those 3 games left with Pittsburgh, I think there's going to be, like, right now there's so much anxiety when Pujols comes to the plate. If he's sitting at 699 with 6 games to go in the season,
oh man,
it's going to be anxiety.
And I know he said, I saw a great interview with him on MLB Network, Harold Reynolds, and it was an extended version of that. And he does seem at peace. He's like, look, like I'm not. Yes, obviously it'd be great to get there.
Nothing.
But he said, I'm not sweating about that anymore.
Yeah.
If it happens, like it'll happen and great. If it doesn't, it wasn't supposed to. That's all right. But he wants
to do it.
Yeah, he wants to do it. And he even said, like, you can feel the pressure of the fans. I mean, I was there those games. You're on your feet with your phone out every swing.
I've never seen it like that.
And it goes hush.
It goes quiet.
As soon as there's contact, there's. And then it gets loud for a second.
That's the weird part is that the quietness. He hit that one. I don't remember what it was this past weekend.
He almost got a second one that Friday night. It was a few feet short later.
Yeah, but he hit one last week. I don't remember what game it was, and the crowd groaned. But he hit like a double in the gap, and it scored the go-ahead run or something. And they groaned. They were upset that he didn't hit a home run, but they just knocked in a double to maybe extend the lead or whatever it was. And it's like, you're expecting so much from the guy, and he's still producing. And like, it's a weird thing that I've never really seen. Like McGuire, you can compare it to, but it's different. It's anxiety filled.
Yeah,
it's like quiet. Oh my God, what's gonna happen?
Who do you think feels more pressure in those at bat situations right now? Aaron Judge or Albert Pujols?
Probably Pujols.
You would think.
I think that.
I mean, Aaron Judge is kind of just sitting,
just swinging. But you know what? Aaron Judge is.
He's playing with house money now.
But there's also no record. I mean, they say an AL record, right? That's what they're saying is the AL record.
I mean, he would be the home run king of the AL if he gets more than 61.
Right, but what does that mean? You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, I'll be honest with you. Especially at this day and age now, no steroids. I didn't think anyone would ever hit more than 61.
No,
in either the AL or the NL.
No, but you know what? It's
definitely amazing. And he's got a shot at the Triple Crown too. By the way, his batting average.
He's now 1 point away in the batting average. But he is head and shoulders above everyone in the league in home runs. He's at what now? 59?
20 more than Schwarber, I think.
36-ish for Schwarber.
Schwarber's I think Schwarber's at 39 now, actually.
But my point is, let's say
maybe that's Alvarez.
59 to 39. That's a big difference.
Yeah,
in
home
runs.
20 plus or more. Yeah,
right. So like, yes, that is completely different, and I just don't think I don't think he has any.
Yeah, Schwarber is second in MLB with 39. Yordan Alvarez is 37.
Right, which is crazy. So you have all these guys are in their 30s and below, and Judge is 59, about to hit 60-ish. Like that is crazy.
He hit 2 the other day against Milwaukee.
Yeah, and that's crazy, and that's a huge difference. But I just don't think I don't think he's bet on himself.
And it paid off, man.
Paying off more.
This has got to be the best bet on yourself going into a free agent season ever of a player. Ever.
I hate to make statements like that for hyperbole purposes, and I hate hyperbolic statements, but I can't think of one. Now, I'm probably forgetting one. I'm probably not thinking of something specific that obvious things, but like this dude said, no thanks to that contract. A great money contract.
It was like almost 300 million or 300 million or something, right?
And
he's 30. He's not super young.
Right. He's betting on himself, and he's going to look great in a Cardinals uniform next year.
Dude, that would, oh my gosh.
Well, we need an outfielder. Look, all of a sudden we need outfielders.
And look, and that's another thing with Judge, as big as he is, very underrated defensively.
Yeah, dude's got center field.
Dude's got a cannon.
Are you kidding?
He runs great routes. I mean, you're not going to see him making the same kind of diving athletic plays that like Harrison Bader makes, but he's really good defensively.
Think about Judge, Carlson, and Jordan Walker playing the outfield. That's two big dudes.
That would be awesome.
That's some big dudes playing the outfield.
I mean, I think that's even less likely to happen than us trading for Shohei Ohtani, honestly. But either of those would be
I
amazing.
think either of those are still possible.
Oh God, I would die if either of those happened.
I
I'd
think
be.
Shohei is more possible than Judge.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
he's 27, and
but also they're selling. You know, they're up for sale. Like that is more likely to happen in my eyes. But let's back to Pujols. Okay, well we can throw Judge in here too.
I think I just to say that I do think Albert's got more pressure for sure, trying to get to 700, especially at home. Judge is, I mean, he's just feeding off the hype of everybody. And again, at this point, he's like, I'm playing with house money. I already know I'm getting a huge contract. I'm a 10-WAR player. I mean, that's the other thing. How many guys do you see hitting 45, 50 plus 60 home runs? Also leading in on base percentage and batting average and all that. Like we don't see that, man. I mean, he's having a crazy season. But yeah, I do think Albert's probably got to feel more pressure just to want to get it done, mainly in front of the fans. And I don't think it's going to happen.
Are the Yankees fans going out like that, like go crazy like that? Are they like Albert is hitting home runs? I don't know.
When he hits them, oh yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
like
if you watch the videos, they're going nuts. And I don't know if you saw now too. The average ticket price is like $250 for Yankees games now. Once he got to like 58,
so
or 57, it's like skyrocketed.
Yankees tickets are already expensive already.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Okay, so when do you think Albert hits 700? Does he still hit 700 in your mind?
God, I hope so. I mean, I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna say that it'll be a disappointment. I mean, it would be a bummer. I think he's already given us such an amazing season that I'm not gonna call it a disappointment,
right?
Because that wouldn't be fair.
This is the most fun I've had as a Cardinals fan, and ever in all my life, because like obviously winning World Series, but that wasn't an entire season of stuff. Like 2011 run with Torty Craig. I don't know if you follow, if you're on Twitter, and all those McLovin, the glove, Mott's glove, all those like side stories, and the squirrel, the rally squirrel. I mean, I got the squirrel on the wall somewhere right here on my wall. You can't see it. Squirrel right there. The squirrel. I mean, like there were so many different things, that were so awesome. But yes, thanks for the comment. Yes, I accidentally put out Juan Yep as A before you instead of you. A. Yes, I did. I wanted to get it out there first. My bad, Tanner.
Sorry, geez. Does he get it this week? I don't. So he'll probably start tomorrow against Clevenger, and Clevenger's had his struggles this year. Blake Snell's a lefty. He'll be starting against him Wednesday night. But Blake Snell, man,
he's pretty good.
Dude, he had a pretty bad season last year, his first year with the Padres when he got traded with them. This year, he's only thrown 110 innings. So I don't know if he started off slow or maybe had an injury. But dude's got 146 strikeouts in 110 innings. He's only given up 10 home runs the entire year. Now, I don't know his splits against him with right-handers, but that's going to be a tough one. That's going to be a tough one to hit a home run off of. And then you go to L.A., and the only lefty, I mean, they got the two big lefties in their rotation are Kershaw and Urias. Urias has been lights out for them. He'll get Cy Young votes this year. That kid, Julio Urias, has been great for them. He's hard to hit home runs off of. Now, if we face Kershaw, I actually like Albert's chances with Kershaw. He hits breaking balls well. Kershaw doesn't throw as hard anymore. We, for some reason, always hit Kershaw well. I could see him maybe getting one there. My hope is that he gets one. You got to get one on this road trip somewhere.
I think
at least you have to.
I think that's right.
And if he does, I think he'll get it done at home against the Pirates in one of those games. I would hope. So yeah, long way of saying I think he gets 700. I just don't know if it's going to be at home now, which is a bummer. Not a disappointment, but it's a bummer
that it doesn't happen at home.
Yeah, that's probably not going to happen at home.
Where do you think it's happening? What spot?
I think it's either going to happen in one of those two Milwaukee games, depending on who we face.
So are we going to travel to Milwaukee?
Maybe they're both night games in the middle of the week, or I think it could happen. Probably more likely at the end of the season in Pittsburgh.
Yes, in Pittsburgh. Okay, so I think one happens this week and the other one happens at home in the final series.
But when do you think? I don't see him hitting one. I don't see him hitting one in either of these Padres or
a bullpen.
Maybe, yeah.
It's still bullpen opportunities. I mean, I mean, don't. I mean, he can get a cheapie too off a freaking player coming in and pitch too. If someone's getting blown out. You know what I mean, like I think he's gonna take at bats. I think he's gonna play every single day that he says he's available.
Yeah.
Like if he says I'm available today, he's going. He's pitching today. Like I mean, he's hitting today. Like if he's available, he's going. And I think Ollie's gonna put him out there because we're 8 games up. And I think that's what's going to happen. So I think he finds one this week in San Diego or LA. He played in LA last year, right? They're probably pulling for him a little bit too, right?
Oh yeah.
So like I think he's going to get some juice from that crowd, late arriving crowd. So maybe in a deeper into the game, but I think that he gets one, and I think the final one will come
The other
either.
thing, these games are so late this week, man.
Oh yeah, it's next. The Friday game is at 10 here Eastern time.
10:10.
10 Eastern.
Yeah.
And I think that's the Apple podcast game.
9:40 our time Eastern. Tuesday and Wednesday.
Yeah, but I think it's Apple on
Oh,
Friday.
yay.
Yeah. So I think the last one comes either October
Oh, that'd be a nightmare if we don't get to hear Dan call it.
October 2nd.
Danny Mac.
Well, I think about the no-hitter from Bud Smith.
Oh,
I fell asleep. I was a child. I mean, that was like I don't remember what year it was. 01. I was in high school, I do believe. I had to go to school. I fell asleep during the Bud Smith no hitter. So like I think about like some of those late games. The Tatis 2 home runs, 2 grand slams in the same game happened in LA at a night game, late night. I saw the first grand slam, didn't see the second one. Like those are the things that I think
it's
of.
hard to say
so guess what
late.
happens in LA in the West Coast? Big Cardinals moments.
While we're sleeping.
I just talked you into it.
It wouldn't surprise. I mean, nothing's going to surprise me at this point. I do hope that is not that Apple TV game Friday because I want to hear. I mean, I would think that KMOX would be smart enough to put him on the radio broadcast.
He's doing that for the playoffs.
Yeah,
so Dan will be on the KMOX broadcast
That's
for the
awesome.
playoffs.
I love that. That's
so
great.
I assume Dan will be preparing, and he will join them at any time there's a national game the rest of the way.
So I wonder if that bumps like Rick Horton or they just run 3 of them out there.
It's a 3-man. He's done it a couple times this year for practice.
Yeah, I heard those.
It's been a 3-man setup. Because one game I was driving
even
and I had it
that's
on. I was like, "Who is that? Wait, that's Dan."
Even that's still a little bit of a bummer if it happens Friday.
Absolutely.
Because like I love hearing Danny Mac's call, and then I like hearing what John Rooney did too.
Yeah,
and we might not get that. If
someone said, "What happens?" Because they rotate. So it could be Danny Mike.
It was Ricky Horton.
What if Claiborne? He's been on the radio the last week. Ricky hasn't been there. So what if Mike Claiborne is the one giving that call?
Let's hope Danny Mac's on the TV.
All right.
call.
So you talked about disappointment. So we went to the 15th game of the 17-game win streak last year. Is that accurate?
For the record, yeah.
Yeah, for the record, to break the record in Chicago. We drove up because they're going to break this record.
Yep.
So if they lost that game, would have been disappointment. Right?
Oh yeah.
For
to get that far and not break it.
But to make the trip.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So then I think Albert has $6.99, and we go to Milwaukee. Drive to Milwaukee. Disappointment if he doesn't get it.
I mean, I went to 2 games this week and drove. Same distance in terms of it's about 4 hours from from here to St. Louis as well as from here to Milwaukee. Yeah, it was a bummer.
Yeah.
I
that's all
think
you cared about, right?
Because that's what we wanted to see.
What else was going to happen? They're going to lower their magic number a couple more?
Yeah. Yeah, that's what we wanted to see. So, yes, and even more so if we went to Pittsburgh. It's nearly a 7-hour drive or whatever it is.
And it's the last series of the season. There's no more.
And it's going to be cold, and it might be raining.
There's no more possibilities there either.
No, yeah.
But you've been to neither of those ballparks?
I've been to Milwaukee.
Okay.
We went opening day 2019.
Okay.
It was in Milwaukee. It was March 28th or whatever it was. I think it was 28 with wind chill as we were walking into the ballpark in Milwaukee. And then we got in there, and it felt great. I enjoyed the park. I thought the fans were awesome. They were super engaging.
I don't love their parks.
Several fans around me, as many times as happened to me as well at Busch, asked me if I was related to Paul DeYoung. At this point, I just say, sure. And now I say no. Or I say I'm actually the better hitting cousin.
Well, yeah.
But yeah, I liked Milwaukee's park. I thought it was cool. And I like going to an away game like that knowing you're not going to deal with a rain out. That is nice when you've got
as
an
a traveling
indoor
too. And I don't like their ballpark. It was a very strange place to watch a game. I felt like in a barn, that sort of thing. I don't like places that have parking lots forever and ever around the stadium.
The walk was long
Yeah,
from their
I don't
parking
like-
lot to the stadium.
I don't like that. I don't like that for any park. I personally, and this may be my bias, I think that the NL Central might have the worst stadiums in all of baseball. Total, like combined.
Yeah.
Now, I think the Cardinals is top 5 park in baseball. Well, I take that back.
Would you
Pittsburgh
put
and-
Wrigley up there in terms of like the
Yes.
experience and everything? I thought Wrigley was cool.
I put Wrigley as not great. I mean, I thought it was a minor league ballpark feel, like
Oh yeah,
minor league ballpark type of field. I don't like. I judge ballparks very strangely as well. I have a criteria, but the inability to walk around the entire park from the inside, I think, is dumb.
oh
So
yeah.
you can't do that
Yeah.
unless you have a bleacher ticket. You can't walk the rest of the way. If you have a regular ticket like we did, we can't walk through the bleachers.
Yeah,
You
that
can't
is-
do that.
That is crazy.
I want to be able to walk around the entire park on the outside, and I want to walk around the entire park on the inside, and I want whatever. But I think that Wrigley, Great American, and Milwaukee are towards the bottom third of parks. Obviously, but I think PNC is top 5.
That's the one I haven't been to.
PNC and Bush, I think, are both top 5. PNC, I think, is top 2 or 3.
Yeah.
I haven't been to Petco.
I mean, it looks awesome on TV.
Yeah, I haven't been to Petco, and that is another one I want to see to compare for Pittsburgh. But
Yeah. Well, all right. Let's do some quick predictions to wrap up because we're at an hour and
I'm
30.
also trying to with this Brewers game to end as well. But go ahead.
Yeah, look at that.
Yeah, it's 2 outs. Well, I'm just waiting for it to end and be like, hey, the magic number's dropped. But anyways,
They're down to the last strike in
what just
Milwaukee.
happened? And then the TV just shut off? Oh, okay, there it goes. All right, go ahead.
Oh, let's see. Okay, so we've got 8 games. I guess that's going into next Wednesday. So we'll just do this road trip.
Yes, just the 6 games.
Just the 6 games.
Just
the
these
Padres
6.
and Dodgers.
Yeah, because
Dodgers.
we'll probably go on again next Monday.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. I'm gonna say 3-3. I'm gonna say 500 ball this week. I think I'd be happy with that. Yeah, I'm gonna say 3-3.
So the Padres.
But that would also mean you're losing one of these series, right? If I go 3-3. So I'm gonna say we're losing the Dodgers series.
and the Dodgers aren't playing for anything either, though, right?
No.
So you know, what I mean, that's a part of the thought process as well.
Wouldn't
And the
surprise
Brewers
me
have
either
lost.
if we went 4-2.
The Brewers have lost. The Cardinals' magic number has fallen to 7.
And the Mets have clinched their first playoff berth since 2016. So
How
good
about
for
that?
them.
So let's. I'll tweet this out for the world live. Mets.
Magic numbers now. Matt Holliday.
See what do you? So Matt Holliday, JD Drew.
I don't know anyone else off the top of my
JD
head.
Drew was 7. Come on.
I should know that.
And then Ducky Medwick, Joe Medwick, the last guy to hit for the Triple Crown. Those were the 3 that I had gotten down to. JD Drew, I didn't have very many good pictures, so you were right. I'm going with Matt Holliday. Mets have beaten the Brewers. Go ahead, talk about your what you think they're going to do.
Yeah. I'm going to say 3-3. I'm going to say they win the Padres series, lose the Dodgers series. But to your point, if the Dodgers aren't playing for much, if they're setting up their rotation, if they're, resting some guys, wouldn't surprise me if we go 4-2. I don't think you're going to see better than 4-2 this week. I think that's going to be like the peak.
Yeah, so I think two ways I'm thinking about it. The Padres have not played well in the last month.
They've won their last 4 now,
But
3
now they're playing better because all of a sudden their backs are against the wall.
Yep. They have a lot to play for.
They've won their last 3. They are a half game up on the Phillies.
Yep.
And they're 2.5 games up now on the Brewers. So they're not secured by any stretch, but they have a decent lead for the last spot.
So they've got the number 2 wild card seed, right?
Currently, right now.
Which is technically the 5th seed, right?
Yes.
So they would play
They'd play Atlanta right now. In the first.
Oh, okay.
in
So
the first
4
round.
and 5 play each other, and then
they
6
would then 6
and 3 would be us.
Yes. So then the winner of that then plays the top seed, Dodgers.
The winner of us.
No, Atlanta, San Diego, because we would be the other division winner. So we would not have
Oh,
to
that's
go
right.
against the top seed.
That's
so,
right.
So it'd be Atlanta, San Diego, currently, as of right now.
So wait, so the winner of our series versus our first round, we would play
go-
the Mets, wouldn't we, right
correct.
now? Okay.
Correct.
Yeah.
So I think
So I wonder who the Padres would rather play. Would you rather play the Mets or the Braves? Probably a
it's a
toss-up.
toss-up. Yeah,
Both are
it
so
depends on
good.
who's healthy for pitching
I mean,
for the Mets. But I think so. What I think best case scenario for the Cardinals this week is 4-2. They 2-3 of each, right? I think it's possible based on the Dodgers not playing for anything. They're at 101 wins.
you're not facing Darvish.
You're not facing Darvish either. But I think 3-3 is more likely.
Yeah.
But you know what? But what
That's
happens
how they've been playing.
if they go 2-4? I'm not shocked either.
No, not with how the offense has been.
Right.
If the offense continues how it's been, I could easily see 2-4.
Yes.
Easily.
And then I think you get a Pujols home run in that too.
I hope so.
I think you do. I think you get a Pujols home run in that run, and then I think you go 3-3, and you lose the series. Probably, if you lose the series, it should probably be against the Padres.
Yeah.
Because they're hot. Their backs against the wall.
Got a lot to play for.
Because I could see the Dodgers pulling their starters earlier than normal.
Oh, starting pitchers?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. With as many injuries as they've had too with their
Right.
rotation, absolutely.
So
that's
my
going
point.
to be happening.
That's
You're not
my-
going to see Clayton Kershaw pitching 7, 8, 9 innings.
Right, and so you might see some different bullpen guys that
Yeah.
you're not going to see in the playoffs.
Yeah,
That's
that's a good point. I mean, yeah. I think also the big takeaway or the big thing I'm going to be looking for this week is Arnaud on Goldschmidt, specifically Goldschmidt, to see how he does this week. I don't know if you noticed yesterday, Ollie pulled the whole Goldschmidt was off yesterday. Did you notice that?
Sorry, I misspelled Brewers. I'm sure Tanner.
It's like all over it right
Tanner,
now.
Tanner's probably all over me right now on Twitter. I was doing it on air. Everyone, did you see me? I did it.
We're just trying to get it
I'm
out,
trying to
guys.
get that.
Jeez.
Mets have beaten the Brews. BREWES. The Brews.
The Brews. Just put the Brews with a bunch of L's by
Yeah,
it.
the Brews. Sorry, Tanner, if
Brews,
you're
oh.
still listening and watching. We appreciate it. But
yeah, I'm going to be.
sorry, go
the
ahead.
big,
What did you?
The
what
big
was the
thing I'm going to
question?
be watching this week is Arenado and Goldschmidt.
Yes.
Specifically Goldschmidt.
Yes.
He was off. Ollie gave him the day off again yesterday,
Yes.
which gives him the day off. He gave him the 2 days off thing again. Didn't work too well
No, it
earlier
did not
this
work
week.
last time.
And especially them two they've seen the Padres and the Dodgers a lot in
As-
their careers.
yes.
They've hit them pretty well. So I'm going to be interested to see how they do this week, and hopefully it's a good bounce back week for Goldschmidt because we've been waiting for about 3 weeks.
Well,
now.
he hit that 2 doubles. He had 2 strikeouts and 2 doubles in that one game, and I thought,
Then he had
all right, here it is, 2 doubles. That's what you want to see.
Yeah.
Like I don't care about the home runs. Like obviously, chicks love the
You want to
long
see
ball.
him. You want to see him hit pitches hard that he should be,
Yes.
that are right there down the
You're
middle. and
hitting
he did
pitches.
that.
Once you see balls in the gap, then they start leaving the yard thereafter. So I saw those 2 doubles. I'm like, all right, we're
That Friday?
Yes, I think so. Or the first game of Saturday, one of the 2.
Yeah.
Either way, I was like, all right.
Yeah, it was the second game of that doubleheader.
I was traveling all weekend, so I didn't get to really see
Golden
everything. I
sombrero.
only got to watch highlights as I was traveling everywhere. 5 hours from here down to Paducah, Kentucky, which I thought whenever you said you need someone to go with the game, I thought, oh, maybe St. Louis is a lot closer. It's not
No.
because we were in the middle of nowhere, Kentucky. It wasn't. It was 3 hours away still. That was not any better. But so I forgot what I was saying, but you know what? That's about all I got.
It was a rough. It was a rough game for them. I mean, Hunter Green was striking out everybody that game.
Yeah,
but-
Hunter Green was great. Oh,
Oh.
that reminds me. So Hunter Green got a jersey from Yachty,
Oh, I saw that.
Bueno, and Pujols. Bueno's and Pujols' inscriptions on them were awesome. Like collector fans would
Yeah.
kill for those jerseys. Yachty just signed Yadier Molina.
You know who I am.
Yeah, you know who I am. But also, I want to one last thing, and then we'll get out of here. Pujols. I'm trying to pull it up on my Twitter. Pujols. Here it is. Cuban-born Red shortstop. Jose Barrio reached out to Pujols, and they had a chance to talk, hitting outside the Cardinals clubhouse. Pujols gifted him one of his bats, and this according to Marley Rivera. This is something that Pujols does constantly with Latino players. It just
Oh, yeah, I
happened.
saw this.
I just happened to witness it that day. He is a Pujols game used. I mean, there's pine tar all over it. I don't think you can be able to see it. There's pine tar all over this bat, and there is a book written on it. I mean, this thing has just words all over this bat, like awesome. And his picture with him outside the clubhouse. And Pujols, also, I think I can look at the comments. I think they said President of the Dominican Republic, Leonel Fernandez, was at the game. He was a special guest. As a special guest, Albert threw out the first pitch, which I'm sure you don't see very often, right? Albert Pujols throwing out the first pitch.
You see Packy Naughton and
Yeah,
Deluzio.
Albert appeared to have invited 2 Reds players to meet Mr. Fernandez, the DR president. And they all took photos with him on the field. They seemed so excited. What a guy. So Albert knew that this was going to be important to these guys. This guy was there. Albert was involved, and he invited those 2 guys at the Reds game as well. Well, those other players. And this person said, this is Lisa, one of our followers. Loch Ness is her at, but can only assume that the 2 Reds are also Dominican. She didn't get a chance to see their numbers. She just was able to see what happened. So really cool, awesome.
He's a class act.
And that's what I tweeted. So much class and leadership from this man, being Albert Pujols. The young guys are so lucky to be with him every day, and we as fans are lucky from afar. We feel like we're a lot more in it than we really are, and we're really not. But there's 14 games left of Albert Pujols' regular season career with the Cardinals, and this year has been a dream. And I just
the Jenna Fisher narrated video had me tearing up today.
Oh man, just gotta get now. You want to get Jenna on the show?
We got to. That would be awesome.
And then
she's a huge Cardinals fan.
Absolutely, and then John Hamm too, right?
Yeah.
Andy Cohen. Who else you got?
That'd be fantastic.
Get all the Nelly next.
We start tweeting at Jenna Fisher now. That would be awesome.
Yeah. Jenna, if you're watching, obviously you are. Come on the show.
Yeah.
We'll have you on.
We can talk The Office too.
I can't. I've seen plenty of it. I'm just
love The
not a
Office.
diehard. She would be upset with
I've
me.
seen it way too many
If
times.
Jenna, you're watching, yes, I watched every episode and I loved every bit of it. All right. Well, that's
about it for us.
That's it from That's a Winner podcast. Well, appreciate the guest tonight, Dan Dakich.
Fantastic.
That was an hour plus ago, but we really appreciate him coming on with us. He was great. He's funny. We really appreciate it. Hopefully he gets Benetti to come on our show. Boo Shambi. Hopefully he can come, even though they're Chicago guys. Hopefully they can they come on. But Dan was a treat. Really appreciate him coming on and spending time with us. I'm gonna send him my address so I can get him added to the wall.
He sounds like he would do it.
Yeah, absolutely. I get him added to the wall. But and then also Breaking Tea. Once again, breakingtea.com/that'sawinnerpod for all of your Cardinals wear, or even any of your other teams. But anything, grind that pepper. Tommy 2 bags. Hopefully Tommy has a great rest of the year as well. Anything else?
That's all I got for me, man. Let's get Albert to 700. Make it happen.
Let's get Albert to 700, and maybe we'll see you in Milwaukee, or maybe we'll see you somewhere soon.
Pittsburgh.
I hope it happens before then. The anxiety of that. All right. Well, that's it for That's Winner podcast. I'm Ryan Jenkins. That's Josh Brown. Appreciate you. Wow. Do you guys like that? Did you like that?
Oh, that was awesome.
That was great. How about this one?
Shooter from the belt to the plate. A swing and a miss. And that's the winner. That's the winner. A World Series winner for the Cardinals. Smith corks one into right down the line. It may go. Go crazy, folks. Go crazy. It's a home run. And the Cardinals have won the game by the score of 3-2. And a home run by the Wizard. Go crazy. Swinging a long one into left field. Adios. Goodbye. And maybe that's the winner. A 3-run homer by Clark. And the Cardinals lead by the score of 7-5, and they may go to a World Series on that one, folks.
What a team. What a ride. The Cardinals are world champs in 2011.